This video is my Throwback Thursday and how we found out we were pregnant with Bentley. Pregnant with Bentley came as a bit of a shock, but then again it didn't. If you haven't seen my video on how me and my husband met each other, I will post that below. You need to go watch that first. We did not plan to get pregnant with Bentley, no way. We hadn't even talked about children, and that is because we had only been together 1 month before we found out that we were pregnant. I was on contraception. I was on the pill. I'd been on the pill for about 3 or 4 years since I had Jayden. And that was fine, and I went to stay with Jono one night, and in the first few weeks of us meeting each other, and I had forgotten my pill. I had taken it that morning, and I thought, oh, that's alright, I'll just take it tomorrow when I get home. And I didn't go home, and I ended up staying at Jono's, I think, one more night, and so I didn't go home. But when I got home the next day, I took a pill, so I was 24 hours without a pill in my system. I didn't even think about it though, to be honest, and seeing as I'd been on the pill for 3 or 4 years, I figured that I had so much of it in my body, you know, but it can happen, obviously. So when we realised that I had missed that pill, we kind of thought, oh no, like, surely not. And like I just said, we thought, no, it's just one day, and how many years, we'll be fine. About a week went later, and it's all I could actually think about, and so we started buying pregnancy tests. At this point, I hadn't really read up on how long it takes to get pregnant, and your cycles, and the waiting times, and all that. I hadn't read up on that. I didn't really know anything about it. And so we started tests, and I did a test, and I think it was a blue dye test, and that came back positive. And we're like, oh my goodness, like, what? So we did another one, but it was a red dye test, and that came back negative. So we took another red dye test, and that came back negative too, and we're like, what? Like, why was that one, you know? So we read out, I did a lot of research on it, and I was saying to Jono, you know, if we got pregnant that weekend, it's still too soon by the sounds of it, so what happened with that blue test? People start saying to me, don't rely on blue dye tests, they're good for false lines and all that kind of thing. I was like, okay. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't wait another week to find out, so we spent a lot of money on pregnancy tests, and all that kind of thing that month, and every time Jono would come up and see me, I'd be like, can you stop and get a test? And I had already bought a test that day, and it was just ridiculous. So I pretty much tested like 2 or 3 times a day for a week. Like, how loopy is that, you know? But as we got near the end of the week, I started getting these tests that were a little bit faint and all that kind of thing, and so of course when you get a faint line, you run out and get another one, but of course they weren't going to change, like, in a matter of a couple of hours, and there's a lot of tests and a lot of isn't it lines. I started asking people, I'm like, what do you guys think, and all that kind of thing. While this was all going on, I said to Jono, what do you think about another baby? Like, what's your thoughts? He had never thought about children. Of course, we just got together. I hadn't met his family yet and all that kind of thing, but he was actually very open-minded about it. He's like, if it happens, it happens. He was 29. He was ready for all that kind of things. And, of course, I just loved babies, always wanted babies. It was looking like, you know, what happened with Jayden. I met someone very quickly and got pregnant very quickly. And, of course, there was that going around my mind. Is he just going to leave me? I had people saying to me, you know, will he stick around? But he just seemed so into it. I was excited. And by then I was really hoping that this was it. Finally, one morning we took a test, and there was this huge positive, and I found out, my friend texted me and told me that she'd been given a whole lot of pregnancy tests from one of her friends that's a midwife, and she was going to bring it round. I was like, okay, could have done that weeks ago when I was spending all this money, but okay. And I think I peed on like most of those, and they were all coming up blazing positive, so definitely knew we were positive. And I remember sitting and talking to Jono, you know, oh, we're going to have to get a car seat, and just going through it all and just making sure it's what we wanted. And I was just so excited, and he was excited, and it was actually really nice to find out like that, and to have the father there and excited as well, opposed to the last time. And it was just really nice. Telling our parents about it, of course I text mum, and I will link down below finding out pregnant about Jayden. But when I text mum and I said, where are you? And she said, we are just in Auckland coming up the Branderwins. Same as last time. And I said to mum, well, I'm pregnant. And I think she just got a little bit funny about it, because she was scared I'd be left on my own again this time. But I said to mum, you know, he's excited, and this is going to be okay, we're going to be alright, you know. And she said, you know, I'll see you later, and we'll discuss it. But I'm pretty sure she did say, you know, congratulations. And I think she felt a lot for Bentley, for Jayden as well, though, because I think she was very worried that, you know, all of a sudden there was going to be someone else, and this was a big change for Jayden and all that kind of thing. So of course she had concerns, but I think they were okay about it, because they went to some shops on the way home, and apparently Dad was saying they saw another little baby, and Dad was saying, oh, it'd be nice to have another little baby around, and all that kind of thing. So it didn't take my mum and dad very long to actually become excited for us. I remember saying to Jono, you know, you're going to tell your mum? And he's like, oh, I'll tell her when I see her next. So I was like, what? You know, like, you need to tell her. So, he was very excited, and so he rang her, and he just said, you're going to be a grandmother. And she's like, what? Who? Like, what? You know, I don't even know if she really knew about me. And so he had to talk her into it, like, just so because it was her first grandbaby, and it was going to be the first great-grandchild for that side of the family as well. So I think they were all kind of excited. Again, they were just cautiously optimistic, because they didn't know me, and they were like, who is this girl, and what's her parents think, and have you gonna got someone in trouble, and all this kind of thing. But once they realised that things were alright, and me and Jono were happy, and that this was going to be a good thing, everyone became very excited about it very quickly. So yep, that's how we found out we were pregnant. We found out very early, because I was testing so early. We had a scan and found out I think I was only about 5-6 weeks pregnant. All the scans went well. Finding out that Bentley was a boy, of course I really wanted a little girl. And we went in for the scan, and being Jono's first child, he didn't mind, and they said it was a boy, and I was like, okay, well, let's go shopping, you know, there was that little hint of bugger, but at that stage I was like, it's alright next time. But I did go out, and I said, let's go shopping and find out, you know, because I had Jono's mum there and my mum, and I was like, let's go out for lunch and go shopping, and for little boy clothes and everything. And Jono's mum was going on about the names we could call it and all this kind of thing. And then I got a phone call from daycare saying that Jayden had fallen and hurting himself quite bad. And I remember just trying not to cry, and I was like, okay. I think I was very overwhelmed, because I was still getting used to the fact that it was a boy, and I just had the grandparents going on in the background about names, and now Jayden had rung, and he was very hurt. So we got in the car, we went and got him, and he was running around happy. And all of a sudden, I just wanted to burst into tears. I think I was just so overwhelmed with finding out that it was a boy and everything going on. And then I was like, I'm having a boy, and my other boy has just lied to me. Like, he's a liar. But I think he did fall, and he had hurt himself, but he was very, he knew that his nanas were around that day, and I think he wanted to come home, and that was just it. And we picked him up, and we took him home, and I think I burst into tears, and I got it all out. And then after that, I was just so excited, and I was just like, you know, they're going to be brothers, and I think I just had to get that overwhelming sensation out. And then we were just so excited, and we fell into, getting ready for this little baby boy. His name originally, I always liked Bentley, a teen mum show. I always liked it, and I always said to Mum, if I ever had another little boy, I'm naming him Bentley. But then I am very picky about my names matching, and I wanted something that matched Jayden and wasn't lesser or more than his name, and we came up with the name Corbin, and we thought they're very similar, they would be spelt similar and that kind of thing. So Bentley was always stuck in the back of our minds, but his name generally was Corbin. And when he was born, so we kind of told people we had a few names, but mostly his name would be Corbin. I went overdue with Bentley, and I had him 4 days later. I can't remember if I went too much into Jayden's birth story, but I am going to do, as Throwback Thursdays, the boy's birth story, so I won't go too much into it. But I went into labour and I had him, and we didn't know what his name was, and I started calling him Corbin, and I texted my husband the next day while I was still in hospital, and I said, his name is Corbin. And he said, yep, no, that's fine, I'll see you soon. And we were about to announce it, but I thought, no, I'll just wait until my husband's here and we'll both announce it together to people. And my brother rang me to see how I was, and I said, we've named him. He said, oh, have you named him Bentley? And I was like, no. And just hearing it, and I was just like, oh, nah, I can't. I was just in love with the name Bentley, and so when my husband got there, I said, no, his name's not Corbin, it is Bentley. And my husband loved it just as much, and so his name is Bentley Nathan William Penny, after his dad and his granddad.